Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hi.
My voice is clear?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Clear, your voice is clear.
Yeah. Roger, all our eminent panelists are here, and including the moderator, Abel. So we can start the panel discussion.
Sure, Bridget.
Oh, are we starting? Are we starting just now, or we just doing?
No,
So we did
it's
take a
panel
break.
discussion.
Yes. So we are starting the panel discussion right now. We were on a break for about 10 minutes, and we will start the panel discussion right now. So welcome back to KSA Hybrid Cloud and Data Center Summit 2022. We are close towards the end of a summit, and this is the last panel discussion on demystifying data center security. So let me quickly introduce you to the moderator and the panelists for this discussion. I'll start by introducing our respected moderator, Mr. Abel, Data Management Lead, Bank of England, Mr. Mohammed, Nabil, Mostafa, Global Chief Information Security Officer, Egyptian Arab Land Bank, Mr. Abdullah Saber Marghalany, Cybersecurity Chief Officer, Medina Health Cluster, Mr. Yuosof, Radi, Director of Cybersecurity, Saudi Logistics Services, Mr. Abdul Rahman Almazroua, Cybersecurity Leader, John Hopkins, Aramco Healthcare, Mr. Samyuktha Kumar, Information Security Officer, Alfardan Group. Over to you, Mr. Aboh, to lead and moderate this discussion. The stage is all yours.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Fantastic. Can I just say, firstly, it's such a great honor to be here today. As you all know, the power of technology, I am dialing from the UK. Apparently it's snowing. I want to announce it's snowing. So just at my back, it's snowing at the moment, but that's the beauty of technology. I'm so delighted to have my able panelists here. Thank you so much, Roger. I listened to the session yesterday, just been an amazing session. So thanks for the organizers for putting this session today. I think it's quite remarkable as well. I've listened to a couple this morning. I'll call it this morning, but I guess your time is afternoon as well. So I'm just looking forward to this conversation because for me as a data management practitioner, the word demystify is a very key thing. And I think it's up to us as data management or data technology practitioner or professional to able to explain what things are to the other part of the business. And I know that my able panelists will be able to do justice to that. So we've got some set of questions that I'm going to ask each of them. And obviously they're going to, come in and just answer the questions as well. So I hope that you will just stay put as well as we do this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate. So I'm just going to go to Abdul first and foremost. For me, right, when I think about data center and the security of data center, what are the steps, okay, that is needed to secure a data center? So from a layman perspective, what are the steps that is needed to do that? Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Abel, and I will start by saying I am happy and it's my pleasure to be with you. Let me start by that as you know, the data center is an entire ecosphere, and which has to be looked at an individual component, but also be holistical. So most managed the policies, people, and technologies needed to be secure for data centers. Every security layer is important. So it is hard to say if one or is more than important than another. But we can say there are 5 major steps to secure the data center, or we can start to secure our data center. The first is get physical. Control the physical access to your data center. Some of the data center managers may start with the hard task and hard work, such as controlling access to each system or to the network layer. But experts prefers to start by looking down physical security to the data center. Second, after you're securing physical access to your data center, you should establish secure zones in the network. So after we have the physical security process in place, the hard work is begin, and which is securing the network. And we are geek people like this part. Here I have an advice for the data center managers. They need to consider the type of business that various sub networks that handle in their networks. We should know what is running and who accesses the operating system layer, and what the other system is communicating with across across the network. Third is lockdown servers and hosts. When we look the visualization, the notion of how do we increase server visualization had brought on new security issues. So there are a couple of questions that security managers must answer always, which are first, how do we ensure that the hyperviruses are locked down, and how do we make sure that additions, deletions, and moves are properly detected? These questions always we need to answer and make sure we are knowing the right answer for it. The fourth step, scanning the vulnerabilities, especially for the applications. And as you know, the application scanners and the code scanning tools is very important. But in the other hand, developers who write their own must run their code through a code scanner. The fifth and the last step is coordinating the communication between security devices for visibility into data flows. In the cloud computing, after we secure our physical data center and network servers, the data computing is about securing the data flows between data centers, client systems, and between the virtual machines within the data center. So application visibility become very important. So data center managers and we have to have a visibility into our flows of to validate the traffic is legitimate and it is not a malware, because a lot of malicious traffic tries to make itself as something else. For instance, a lot of traffic uses port 88 or tunnel with secure socket layer encryption. So network administrator must have the knowledge and applications identification to understand what that traffic is. These, I believe, the five most important to securing your data center. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abdullah. That's really, really useful. I think everyone in the call, I guess you can go through the 5 steps. Thank you for succinctly just explaining the 5 steps as well. I think we're on the subject of demystifying the data center security. So I'm just going to come over to you, Yuosof, if you don't mind. I know that obviously we're in the pandemic. I think most people would argue that we're coming out of it. We don't know what's going to happen the next couple of months. But I think the pandemic has brought us new challenges, you know, for data center in terms of cybersecurity. How important is it for training and education in dealing with these challenges that the pandemic has brought to us? Over to you, Yuosof.
Thank you, Adil and Abdullah. It's very important information. As Mr. Abdullah, the security control for data center, from location, design, some security control in data center, it's all well known, and you can find it in any standard for data center before pandemic. But what we faced during the pandemic and after, how behavior of the teleworker change and the business requirement change, and the high push on the digital transformation begin on the organizations. These open new services or require a data center to enable new services and new business, new services that mean new risk. Those challenges for cybersecurity, like open your system that was closed for the employee working in office in closed network to cloud to work from anywhere at any time from any device. These open huge risk on data leakage, data loss prevention or data leakage. So the employee or the normal user, non-IT user became very critical aspect for the security. So now you cannot control where he accesses, from where he accesses. Of course you can control, but you need to open it to support the business or your business goals and services. So the employee awareness and training for the different type of malware, of ransomware, of email protection, which it is very big subject. Which link he click, which email he read, the attachment that shared in Google Drive or any other shared drive. So the employee, he need to have the basic cybersecurity training and continuous awareness. You have to have baseline for your organization cybersecurity knowledge to check the weakness. Make some like a phishing campaign to your employee. This is continuous effort, and it really helped our colleagues to take scientific decision in case they are in a situation that they receive some suspicious email or they're in a ransomware situation or their computer affected. Because now they will use their own personal device, their mobile application. Maybe it doesn't have the strong endpoint security that organization usually put in their corporate devices. So yes, definitely the employee training and awareness is very critical aspect in cybersecurity now.
Thank you so much for that. And I think it's really, you brought it home. We're obviously talking about, the cloud and summit as well, data center. We know that the hybrid working has really posed a big challenge. I'm just going to come over to you, Abdul, if you don't mind. It's just about how, from a hybrid perspective, now that we are operating in a hybrid cloud environment, which is something that people have seen, what do we need to do to protect the data center in terms of security? Abdul, if you don't mind, thank you.
Actually, could you please repeat your question? Sorry, I lost you. Abdul? I'm just talking to, it's not just you, Abdul, I'm talking to the other Abdul, if you don't mind. Sorry.
Rahman. Yeah, thank you so much. But I think I'll repeat the question again. We're talking about hybrid working, and now we're seeing that as well in terms of the hybrid cloud proposition as well, right? So the question is, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to protect the data center in such a hybrid cloud environment?
First of all, I need to thank you, Abdul, and all Abdullah and our colleague to add the value on this discussion. As you know, the security, when we are talking the cloud or on-premise, we are still focusing about the cybersecurity controls as a first step. But with this transformation and securing the modern data center, now the approach should across the physical and virtualization and also cloud environments. Because of that, with the need of the network authentication security, and also we are still looking for the fast response. We are thinking about the hybrid cloud service and how to save the data with this hybrid cloud. First of all, we need to be part from that. This is very important for any structure. Although the hybrid cloud security, it sounds complicated with the managing public or private cloud. Because of that, we need to think about the hybrid from the different perspective. This is the people, who's responsible for this hybrid cloud, the physical, what's the kind of the infrastructure that we need to be secure in the hybrid cloud. This is including structure, design, include the technology itself that we are using. The technical, this is include the procedure and the encryption that we need to using for authentication, authorization. Some of this three pillars should be considering when you are thinking about the hybrid cloud. In addition, if you talk about this transformation, we need all the time to think about the strategy. The cybersecurity is part from this strategy for the IT hybrid cloud. Also, how to build the design without compromise the operation requirement and also the security requirement. When you build the network infrastructure, we need to build a strong network infrastructure for this hybrid cloud with encryption. And time we need to remember to adopt with zero trust security for the best protection. I think this is in general, if you think about the hybrid cloud, with this transformation requirement, with all globalization needed now to move with the cloud, with the cybersecurity resiliency, and to help the operation as much as we can.
Thank you so much, Rahman. That's really, really useful. Thank you for that. And I think everyone in the call would agree, and we consider some of those things that you've just talked about, if not all of them as well. I'm just going to come over to you, Mohammed, if you don't mind. I know that risk management is a big piece there. So I would like to understand from your point, how can we conduct a data center risk management? What are the few steps that's required to do that? Obviously, we're talking about demystifying the data center risk management. So Mohammed, if you don't mind, if you want to share that, thank you.
Thank you. I want to start first step. You need to understand your data center. Now, data center is not the traditional data center as before. There is legacy system, there is some on-premises system, and also there is a hyper cloud systems. So there is different type of system. You need to understand what inside your data center to be able to secure it. Then you need to understand your network topology to understand the traffics, which user communicate with which systems and on which protocols. This is the first step. You need to understand your environment. What is the ecosystem? What even in physical security, and physical, for example, camera system, IoT, access control. What system are there? What is their integration? This is the first step. Second step, start to know after that what threats posed for each type of system you have. You have a system integrated with a cloud system, with a hyper cloud new concept. You have legacy system, you cannot budget, but business needed. You have now IoT, camera system, access control, other things which has a lot of risks. And one of the biggest risks is people. How people deal who access the data center physically or on the network. After that, you need to assess control. This is a third and final step, assess control and the value of control against the risk you have. So you need to both look on holistic view, how to integrate all controls. For example, now one of the major control is identity management. You have systems on prem and you have systems integrated with it on hyper. Now new identity management system, for example, when you acquire new system, you need to have a system combine the two features. You need to have one management to who access your data. So first, to prove it, understand your data center, understand what you have, understand threats for your systems, and then start assess the authentication plan and control to eliminate these threats.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. That's quite useful, really, really useful. Thank you for that succinct answer as well to the question. I'm just going to come over to you, Sami and Kumar, if you don't mind. I think we've had, you know, the other panelists have just shared about where we are right now and how the data center model has changed, you know, but I would like to get your thoughts around, you know, I know that the traditional way of securing data center now might no longer be sufficient, right? But can you just talk about what are the changes that you've seen from your perspective over the last couple of decades and what needs to be done?
Thanks, Abel. Thanks for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. Let me dive into the topic right away. Data center model, as we see, has undergone a lot of changes in the past couple of decades, from on-premise IT-controlled centers to software-defined elastic environments. With the massive expansion of business across geographies and the need for the business to optimize resources, data center models have evolved into being hosted as private, public, or hybrid clouds. At the core, if we talk about the core of the data center security, it is about ensuring data security. Traditional methods of securing them involved segmentation, network segmentation, firewall, ACLs, policies, etc. However, this is becoming no longer sufficient as the threat landscape has changed. Attackers nowadays use a wide variety of tools to compromise the system and to exfiltrate sensitive information, which the traditional security model doesn't cope up with. Virtualization, on the other hand, adds its own set of security risks. The virtualization technology offers communication in such a manner that VMs can communicate with each other, thereby making it difficult to apply security controls on top of them. In addition, the usage of legacy systems, overlook on endpoint security, and the overlook on network and server hardening leaves gaps which attackers could use to compromise the machine and exfiltrate sensitive information. Though the traditional methods of security does its job in its defined way, with the growth of the business across geographies and the current data center operation model and the ever-growing threat landscape, the traditional model of security is becoming no longer sufficient, and we need to have a different look at the data security to ensure all the elements are secure enough.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sam, for that as well. I'm just going to stay with you, Sam, if you don't mind as well. I know you talked about, you know, the tradition, and you talked about the challenges as well. Now, the question I just wanted to put to you is, how can this be overcome? You know, if you want to give us one or two, just because of time, and that would be really useful. Thank you.
You're right. Let me talk about isolation and microsegmentation. See, isolation can provide first layer of security for the data center farm and the applications residing within. Right? Isolation isn't something new. That we have been using isolation for so long, using VLANs, firewall ACLs, and other policies. With the micro-segmentation, the policies or the firewall rules could be applied at the workload level such that if an attack happens, the breach could be limited to not to be spread to anything laterally. Okay. So the other aspect what I want to talk about is endpoint security. So endpoint security nowadays must be capable enough to detect and prevent malicious activity in runtime. Some next generation antivirus nowadays provides such a capability where it analyzes process rather than matching the hashes. It analyzes processes in runtime and prevents any malicious activity happening. Hardening is one another area which is overlooked the most because it is a bit difficult or challenging to achieve. So industry standards like CIS could help organization achieve this. I would like to conclude with it saying no one solution would fit all the requirements. A combination of tools, technologies, processes, and procedures will help organizations protect what matters to them the most. A logical way to start is to assess the current posture against the industry baseline and to optimize from it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sam, for that. That's quite useful. The standard way as well, the people, process, technology as well. You know, that's really good. Thank you. I'm just going to come over to you, Mohammed, if you don't mind. Because I was listening to the previous people and I know that the zero trust model is something that people are talking about. How important it is, zero trust model to secure the data center from your perspective? Mohammed, are you there?
You're on mute, Mohammed.
Sorry, can you repeat again because the internet connection?
No worries at all. That's the beauty of technology. Do you want me to repeat the question? Do you want me to repeat the question?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, you know, like I said, I was just in a previous session, we were talking about zero trust model, right? I just wanted to understand for you, one or two, how important it is, you know, for a zero trust model, you know, in order to secure the data center.
Probably we can ask this question to our next panelist, maybe to Yuosof, Abel, because Mohammed is facing some technical challenges.
No worries at all.
Now, that as a project.
Okay. So, Mohammed, we're going to come back to you just in conscious of time. You know, I'm just going to go over to Rahman, if you don't mind. You know, I think it's all about the challenges as well. So from your perspective, one or two challenges around the scale of data center architecture. If you just want to comment on that, please.
Well, I don't know if you hear me very well because still disconnected the voice. Very well.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, great. You know, this challenges. This is a big word with all transformation, but large enterprises building hyper IT infrastructure, usually focusing about how to secure the data in cloud, how to comply with the regulatory requirement, how to manage data efficiency, implement required controls. This is the all what you are talking. Start thinking about the challenges and the cloud. But now we are talking something different. This is to ensure our network is speed enough to utilize this number of huge data transaction. One of the major of these challenges, how to run virtual services. This is from the infrastructure itself, also from the computing itself. And another challenges I can mention here, how to protect from vulnerabilities attack. This is we are talking about attack related this hybrid, this kind of the hybrid mode. This is included DDoS or the something related the firewall latency, and we need to also to focus here how to maintain the IPsec connectivity Finally, we need also to reduce the firewall latency to ensure this hybrid is working as the business. One thing here I need to add for the challenges, how to deal with the critical data. Critical data, this include healthcare information, patient information. As everyone know, if you are dealing with the patient information, with this transformation and in cybersecurity perspective, especially about what happened in 2020 in Germany, that's the first death caused by the cyber attack. Now we are focusing about the patient safety, not only the cyber security control implement. Because of that, we need to consider the main challenges, what's the sector we are dealing with. This is the brief, not need to take time to talk about the many challenges with this transformation or with this model of the cloud service.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abdul Rahman, for that. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for that. I'm just going to come over to you, Yuosof, if you don't mind. You know, I mean, over in the UK as well, where I am at the moment, you know, hybrid working is a thing, and that's going to happen globally as well. But I just want to you to just talk about some of the challenges that you see, you know, working from home and hybrid working as well, and how organizations can respond to that. Yuosof, if you want to come in and just share your thoughts on that, please. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, preparing for teleworker, it's really start from inside the data center itself. To open the door for usually the VPN is there from I think from like 20 years when I started IT, the VPN, but it was only for the admin access. But now if you want to open the finance, HR, marketing team to access the entire data center services, this is required from cybersecurity to revisit the cybersecurity requirement for the current services to meet like what we call it as a security 3-tier architecture. And the team talk about network zoning and segmentation. So, and also you talk about zero trust. So this is to enable the access as needed only with the good justification. So the user can access the web page of the services, not the application server, or they even have access to data. Other thing is when we talk the teleworker, we talk about the VPN. So you have to also check your VPN configuration, VPN requirement, also the user health check, device post-check requirement that they have healthy system, updated, they have antivirus, they are not using maybe public Wi-Fi. So there is a long checklist that cybersecurity need to check for VPN application infrastructure, privilege, also access management. You cannot give same access to all your users. So HR team will have access to the HR systems, finance as well, and other user. Maybe some normal user, they don't have even privilege inside the network. So when they teleworker, they only request vacation or they want to print something. So the access management, it's very, very important here. The other things that I want to talk with what happened, what changed now in the business. When we talk about data center, it doesn't mean my data center. With the organization integration now and SaaS services from multiple companies, as a security, I have to have overview, where is my data? I need to know where is my data, where it's located, how it's moved, who saved my data, who printed. So we have to have like enterprise integration using maybe Azure AD or Active Directory or any IAM solution to understand where is my user working, what they access, how to use my data. This is introduce other technology like MDM or MAM. So teleworker, it's really the new trend in cybersecurity.
Thank you.
It's a journey and it just starts. It will continue.
Thank you so much, Yuosof. I was seeing loads of nodding of head, and I think I know that the audience as well, because what you're articulating is how we can demystify a data center and how the operation work in terms of evaluation. Thank you so much for that. That is super succinct, and thank you for that. I'm just going to come over to you, Abdul, at the moment. Abdullah, if you don't mind, I just got one final question, and it's just something if you can come in as well. So in terms of security, I know we talked about data center securities and controls. What are the types of controls for people to consider? If you want to share something on that basis, please, as we wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I start saying what is the controls, let me say they are the process of the securing the data center. What is requiring? It's requiring both comprehensive system analysis and ongoing process that improves. The data center is constantly evolving as a new application or services becoming available. On the other hand, also attacks are becoming more sophisticated and more frequent. This trend is requiring a steady evaluation of security readiness. For the type of the controls, I can say there are two types or two main types: physical security controls and virtual security controls. The physical security, actually, it is defined as a set of protocols built in with the data center facility to prevent any physical damage to our data center. Those protocols should able to handle everything, beginning from a natural disaster or corporate espionage or until our terrorist attacks. And there are many techniques to prevent physical attacks. We will list some of them, like CCTV security network, 24/7 on-site security guard, monitoring temperature and humidity. In the second the second type of the controls, I believe it is virtual security, which is, in simple words, is security measures, but it is a security measures put in place to prevent unauthorized remote access. And to be honest, the virtual security is the most cost and very hard task because there are many ways it could to be attacked. But the worst part, it is that evolving years and years. For instance, an attacker could decide to use a malware in order to bypass the firewall to access the data. All the system may as well put security at risk, as they don't contain modern methods of data security. This is one example of how dangerous now and how hard it is the virtual security. To prevent security to prevent virtual attacks, there are many techniques, such as log auditing of all users' activity, access based on level of clearance, control based on IP addresses. These two types of controls, I believe, this is the control or these types to control our security in the data center.
Thank you so much, Abdullah. That's really useful. I know that we're just running out of time. I just firstly want to say thank all my panelists for your, just sharing as well. And I think for everyone in the audience as well, we'll certainly get a thing or two that will pretty much demystify, the data center security. So thank you so much. Over to you, Roger. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abel, for moderating the panel very well and efficiently. Thank you very much to panelists Abdullah, Mohammed, Yuosof, Abdul, Samyuktha, and Abel once again for extremely interactive and knowledgeable discussion this evening.